I'm sure that, like me, we've all heard how important sleep is and how critical it is to get a good amount of sleep. But if that was true, why does it seem almost impossible to get it? And like it's not even possible to get a good full night's sleep? Well, lucky for you, I got some tips that might actually help you get a good night's sleep, and you're not going to have to go to a doctor to do it. First, let's start with melatonin. Everyone's tried and true go-to for when they need to get more sleep, you got something big coming up, whatever is going on, everyone usually turns to melatonin at one time or another because they know it helps you sleep. But something you might not know is that most melatonin sold in the stores that you can just get regularly is way overpowered. Way overpowered. It starts at like 2 to 5 usually, goes up to 10, 20 sometimes. Now, if you ask any doctor, you look up anything online about like trials on how much you actually need, when you get up to those levels, you're no longer getting the therapeutic benefits of melatonin. You're actually wrecking your system. Way too much overload of a natural hormone that you really don't need anywhere that much of. So what you really want to shoot for is between 100 to 500 micrograms, which is just a 100th of a milligram. So essentially, if you have a 1 milligram pill of melatonin and you split that into fourths, that's going to give you 250 micrograms of melatonin. So if that's all you can find, 250 is going to be good for you. So just go get one of the 1 milligram tablets, split it in fourths, and try that, because that lower dose actually promotes much better sleep. It helps you have better dreams and not those crazy weird dreams. And when you wake up in the morning, you're not going to feel all groggy, drowsy, like that sleep inertia that comes with taking way too much melatonin. And when you take such a high dose like the 5s and 10s, you're going to start having issues with, if you don't take melatonin, you're not going to sleep for a very long time very well, because you've desensitized your brain to your natural melatonin production and you've stopped making a lot of your own. And not to say you're screwed, you can always go back and taper down and take some time off, but it's going to take a while to get back to normal levels where you can actually sleep normally again. And that melatonin is just way too strong for you. And number 2, Benadryl. Everyone loves to take Benadryl to help them sleep. And I'll tell you what, it works out very well. It'll really knock you out. It's like the old saying says, you can't sneeze if you're passed out. And that's why a lot of people say Benadryl only really works for allergies, because it knocks you out. For sleep though, in a pinch, if you really need to get some sleep, or you're trying to reverse, like you just flew across the country and you're trying to get your time zones fixed and you're doing that trick where like you take melatonin when you would normally want to go to sleep with a Benadryl, wake up on time for the new time zone, drink some coffee to reset your system, you can do that. Benadryl though isn't real sleep. You're actually kind of sedating yourself into like unconsciousness. So you're not getting a regular sleep cycle. You're disrupting the entire natural flow of how you would normally sleep. So you're not going through the proper stages down and up. And it really just throws off your whole system. Plus, there's a lot of negative side effects with Benadryl. One of them being it massively increases your chance of getting Alzheimer's when you get older. Like really skyrockets it up there. So you really want to avoid taking Benadryl as much as you can. It's also in ZQuil and NyQuil, so be careful with that. I'm not saying don't take it, I'm just saying be very careful with how much you use Benadryl. It's kind of like a last Hail Mary if you really need to get some sleep. Next, for those of you who don't know, your body is very sensitive to temperature when you're trying to sleep. So usually your body will cool down between 1 to 3 degrees when it's falling into sleep. It needs to go down in temperature in order for you to fall asleep. And usually about when you start to wake up, it is increasing in temperature. That's why often people wake up feeling cold. Now for the going to sleep portion, what you're going to want to try and do, if you can, is try and help that process along. Try and keep your room a little cooler, if possible. And if you have the time, maybe take a cooler shower. I'm not talking an ice shower. That's going to wake you back up because you're going to go into almost shock. Don't do an ice bath before bed. But just take a cooler shower, keep your room a little bit cooler, get out, turn on the fan, and relax. Don't do anything physical that'll warm you back up, so that when you lay down, without too many covers, you're going to naturally be grading towards that lower temperature. That'll help you ease into sleep instead of fighting it, because there's probably been times where you've been struggling to go to sleep. If you've ever noticed that you're also really hot when that's happening, You really can't fall asleep if you're overheated. It's very difficult. And if you're overheated and you end up sleeping, you probably passed out from heat exhaustion, to be honest, or you were just completely exhausted anyway from overexertion. So just try and focus on getting that body temperature down a little bit, and that'll help you out. Even drinking a nice big tall glass of pretty cold water will help. Don't chug it. And don't drink too much, because then you'll have to get up to pee. And lastly, you've probably heard a lot, stay off your phone, stay off technology. The blue light keeps you awake. That's debatable. There's been a lot of studies going both ways whether or not blue light really keeps you awake. But something to take out of it is, most of the time when we go through our day, we never stop. We wake up and it's go, go, go. Like just running, doing all these things all day long, smashing our schedule as much as we can, full of activities and things to get done. The problem is, our brains aren't designed to just go full throttle and then shut off. For the longest time, like through our history, there was periods during the day where you sat and you decompressed and you reflected on the day. Usually when you came home from work, you would just sit, relax, think back about the day. Maybe even on your lunch break at work, you would kind of decompress there. And then again, when you got home, regardless, if you go to work all day, and the first thing you did in the morning was get ready for work. You got to work and you worked and you came home and you did all these chores, and then you're on your phone or reading a book or doing something, and then you just immediately go, okay, time for sleep. You're not going to sleep because your brain has all this backlog of stuff that it hasn't processed, worked through, got ready for when you sleep, and it's going to start sorting things out, memories, things it doesn't need to remember, new things to learn. So a good idea is about minimum like 15-20 minutes before you're trying to actually be passed out, just take some time to yourself. No phones, no TV, no books. Just lay down in a nice, comfortable, cool, quiet area and just let your mind run. Don't judge it. Don't try to stop it. Let it go, because it's trying to process the day. And once it gets things sort of put into little boxes that it can handle while it's sleeping, it'll allow you to naturally go into sleep, and you won't have that anxiety, that running mind, that panic about not getting enough sleep, because your brain will be preparing for sleep while cooling down, and then it'll allow you to kind of ease into that natural sleep cycle. Give those tips a try. Let me know what you think. If you know any more, let me know, and I hope some of these are helpful.